message in the chat if you're not. So hey, thank you so much everyone for coming. Some of you I've met before, some not. I'll let you know who I am and what we're doing first up. So I think probably everybody knows Hamish, and that's how you've come here. So Hamish and I have worked together on Soundtrails for more than 5 years now. I think 2014 or it might have been beginning of 15 it was when he was first speaking about the concept. And I have been involved with the app and the platform from the very beginning, and stayed working with Hamish. And then this year, from the beginning of this year, we've undertaken a large rebuild of the whole system. So over the years, Hamish has sort of kept it alive, where a lot of similar projects haven't necessarily kept going. But there hasn't been a lot of investment into Soundtrails, into the tech side of it. And so this year really represents putting in a lot of the wish list that Hamish has been building up over the years. Soundtrails is very much about on location, immersive, historical audio experiences, and the Soundtrails are all centered around towns, most of them in kind of regional Australia. The platform that we are developing is certainly focused around that, but we have taken an approach that is open to many other use cases as well. And I think at least a number of you come from a like art gallery or museum type of background, and so what we've built, while very much geocentric, I would say, is quite versatile as well. So I'm going to take you through and hopefully there's relevance. On the call today is also Keaton Mustard, and he's the developer who has been working on the new app and this new backend. So just before I jump into the demo, I will let you know that the approach that we've taken with the rebuild this year of the Soundtrails platform has taken into account, what we've learned over many years. And the key thing there is just a big part of the success of Soundtrails has been, I think, actually the focus on the quality of the stories and the experience that are being created, as opposed to a focus on the technology. And while we did a lot of looking around to see if there was a platform that would accommodate what the kind of experiences that Hamish likes to build, and we weren't able to find one, and we went, well, we'll need to build our own. I've always kept that in mind in architecting this thing, that we want it to be very much like the technology is there to facilitate the experience, and it is definitely in the background and not center stage. That's the approach that we've tried to take with it. I will say as well, please jump in at any point with any questions. I'll take us through a fairly quick demo. But yeah, I'd welcome questions, thoughts, input. So I'm now going to share my browser here, and what you're looking at now is what we call the Soundtrails Builder, or sometimes the backend, or also the Creative Sandpit. And this is where this is the tool that we've developed for creating the new Soundtrails. What I'm going to do, I'm going to really quickly go through creating from scratch a very miniature kind of Soundtrail type experience. From there, I will kind of show you something a bit more complex in there, talk about it quickly, and then kind of open up to general conversation. But again, please do jump in with any questions as we go along. So I'm going to log in with my account here. We've kept this very, very simple. Any Soundtrails or experiences that you build will be listed here. I'm going to create a new one here. I've been going to the Steve Irwin Australia Zoo a lot lately, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if there was a bit of an immersive audio experience there? So that's what I've decided to do for the demo here. So when we create a new one of these, we just need to give it a name. A thumbnail is good as well. There we go. And we hit create, and the new sound trail is there. Now to go into it, brings up the basic information. We go edit Soundwalk, and here's where we go into the real guts of the builder. Now, the very first time you come into this, you do need to locate in the world exactly where what you're doing is focused. And yeah, the approach that we've taken is absolutely very geo-focused. So the base point is always a map and a particular location. That's not to say that's the only way it can be used, but that is certainly the focus there. I'm now trying to locate Australia Zoo. I think it must be there we go, there's Landsborough. I know it's somewhere here. Sorry, I should have, oh, there it is right there. Okay, so what we can do, the first thing we can do in the Soundtrails data is bring a map in. Now I've just grabbed a map off of their website, and then I found that I actually had to flip it upside down and rotate a little bit, but I'm going to drag that on there. And now I'm kind of prompted to trim this a little bit. I'll kind of cut this thing off here and bring it down to here. Put that in. That's going to overlay that exactly where I've kind of got the map going, and then I can finesse the position a little bit to overlay that completely with the real geography, which is going to be something like that. This is going to be quite rough. I prepared this as a demo, and it's really just to show off the features, but there we go. There's core information associated with each of these experiences. We give it a name here, information about it, and then you can also associate multiple images with any sound trail. Sound trails are then made up of what we call hotspots, and a hotspot is a zone where somebody goes in and an audio experience begins. There doesn't need to be audio, it can just be information and text, but sound trails certainly, as much as a geo-focused, are also focused on audio. So I'm going to pop in what we call a hotspot. I'll just zoom in a bit more. Around the crocodile enclosure here, and I've picked the circular drawing tool to do that. Now the way this works, basically, when someone's walking around in the park, as soon as they go inside of this zone, that hotspot will be triggered, and the audio that's associated with it will begin playing. So to add some audio, so I just click on the point there, and then I can drag my audio file in. I've just got a short little quote by Steve Irwin there. But the other thing we can do then is put quite a bit of information about this thing. I'm just going to grab something from their website. And then we can also add images. So again, I can just drag those in. I've got a few pictures of crocs here. I can select all of them at once and just drag them in to associate them with this hotspot. Now, while we do support any kind of style of images, over the years we found that can be quite problematic, the flexibility there. So in the builder here, we have limited it to say that the pictures associated with a hotspot must always be square. And we also sort of make sure that they are of a minimum size to make sure the quality is there, and shrink them down if they're too big. We found this is, yeah, a lot of what goes on here is just about making the experience as simple as possible for creating one of these and making sure you've got the best resulting experience. So that's the process to add a location or a story or a hotspot. I'll throw another one in here. In addition to the circular locations, which we've kind of always supported, we've now also introduced rectangular, or in fact any kind of polygon shape. So we can sort of say anytime someone walks within this particular range, then we want the particular audio associated with this story to come up. So what I was looking at here was the tiger enclosure. Again, I'll just drop in a random little piece of audio I've got about that, and I'll grab a little bit of info from their website about the Bengal tiger. So Keaton's just showing me the question here. Interesting. So I'll go into the tech a bit then, Tracy, right after this. That's a great question. Now, the original backend was built completely integrated with WordPress, and well, no, I'll answer the question now. This effectively stands independent, and once we've gone through creating this, I'll show you how easy it is to integrate then with an existing website. I'll throw a picture in for, I know I had a tiger picture on hand. There we go. I'll drop that in there as well. Okay, so now I've created a few what we call standard hotspots. These are things where when you walk into the location with the app, the information would pop up there, and the story that's associated with that would automatically start playing. And obviously you'd have the information there as well. There's also some other styles of things that you can do. So for example, if we wanted to have an area where of background sounds, for example, we could mark this entire area to be background audio, and we could have sounds of a rainforest, which I've downloaded one of those. And so what that means then, when the user walks in to this larger circle, they'll be hearing those background sounds, and once they go into the sort of standard story that's closer, that will override, that will take the position over the top of that. The one other Tracy, I'll finish going through the demo, and then we'll talk about web web integration. I'm not sure exactly how to respond to the texted message. Cool. So yeah, there's one other type of or key type of audio thing that we put into the stories, which we call instructional. And so I don't know if you'll hear my audio actually, but I've got a few little wonderful sound bites of Steve Irwin. Can you hear this if I click this? Yeah, cool. So, you know, what we can do is just drop in, say, a little point when you're just coming into this area. Now, this won't appear in the app on the map or anything like that, but it will just, when you walk there, you'll hear that that little sound bite. So Hamish uses this kind of thing as well to say, you know, you cross the street when you get up here, that kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Hopefully that sort of gives you a taste of how simple it is to put something with an amount of complexity together. We will come back into this, but going into then how you use that in a website. So that's effectively standalone. But we have then essentially an embed code. So you can take this and put that into any existing website that you've got to get what's been created come up with the information that you've put in, the ability to play.
You are right here, naughty.
That,
Here
I mean, that would ideally be something about tigers, but that was the piece that I put in. The circular hotspots currently just show up as a single point. There's not a lot of styling. This is kind of the bare bones version of it, if you will. And we can obviously style this in all kinds of different ways. And I'll show you what the Soundtrails website looks like. But the idea is that very quickly and very simply, you can go and create a Soundtrail or audio immersive type of experience. So I might kind of answer these questions now, and Tracy, can we start with what you were asking? And I can see your messages there, but if we could talk about it, that would be simpler for me, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm just interested in, and I asked Hamish a similar question about how it's built at the back end. Like if you're using like a CMS of some sort, like Drupal or something like that, to, you know, generate the actual interface.
Yeah.
And is there other, you mentioned Mapbox or Echoes. For some reason I thought Echoes was also part of the first build of Soundtrails. So I'm interested just to know more about the specs generally.
That's
and another question that I do have is, would it have the capability to actually have some sort of database at the back end if I wanted to, say, gather locations, you know, sort of across multiple geographic points?
Yep.
So say thematically, you know, we're capturing the number of houses in a certain, that are yellow in Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of database would be at the back end of that? Just as,
Gotcha.
you know, something simple, or
Sure.
yeah, more techie stuff for me, please.
Fantastic. Hey, I love that question. I'm a techie person, and I'm glad you asked that, because I also meant to go into exactly what I've brought up on the screen here now before, and I forgot. So I'm glad that you've prompted me. When I started banging on before about saying we've really tried to make the focus about being able to create the experiences and not caught up in the tech, like I really mean that, and that was an absolutely, you know, fundamental driving principle. That's not just jargon. What we ended up coming up with, keeping that in mind, was defining a data format to represent these things. So the structure of this whole platform is very modular. So, and I will go into each component, but the starting point, and I'll share this link with everyone. It might even be in the meeting invite. The starting point for this was this STX data format, which we invented this year. It's based on KML, for those who are familiar with that. For those who aren't, that's basically just a way of representing a map. And Google Maps, for example, you can drop a KML file in there and show a series of points. So we've started with the KML format, and on top of that, we've added in the information that we want to represent in a sound story. So effectively, KML already lets you define points and polygons, in fact, and we've just taken that further and said, okay, in addition to that information, let's let you specify all the bits and pieces of data that we need to represent a full sound story. Now, Hamish and I debated and spoke for a long time around this. When we came up with it, we realized it was really powerful, and we believe it's a game changer for the industry. We, considered, do we want to keep this proprietary for competitive advantage, or do we want to sort of put it out there and see what happens with it? And we decided to go with the later approach. So this is publicly out there. Anyone can make use of this. We even have a basic viewer that's available, open source, for you to go and open one of these files. One of the big advantages of using this STX format and basing it on the KML specification is that we haven't had to build everything from scratch. So you can actually take one of these STX files and quite often load them into even Google Maps, say. Now, you're not going to get all of the extra information, the audio and the images pop up, but the image itself will load in there, and you will see, for example, that polygon even in a Google Maps if you load up one of these KML files. So that also let us take advantage of a lot of the tooling that exists out there. So this backend that I've shown you, our starting point for that was an open source project called GeoJSON, and it then provided a lot of the mapping logic, and we've forked from that open source project and built on top of it to add these specific capabilities that we wanted. Actually, Keaton, could you pop the link? Keaton will send the GitHub link for the STX viewer. So that's the core of it. Each audio experience actually sits as a single standalone file, and the reason we think this is potentially a game changer is you are no longer tied to a platform with this. Like if you create one of these, you can then take your creation and you can email it to someone, and share these around. And we think, if other platforms choose to support this standard as well, then it completely disentangles the producers of these audio experiences from the technology platforms that they've previously been tied to. So that's the core of it. Obviously,
thank you. That helps me a lot, because I was really like, oh, what did I build this on? Because I was thinking KML was happening there in the back end, but I wasn't sure how the pieces were fitting together.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. Thank you.
Cool. You're very welcome. And look, the original Soundtrails was built as basically a WordPress plugin. So we just came up with a proprietary database and built it around that. And it was, obviously functional and served, but we wanted to take things a lot further with the rebuild. One of the key things being we wanted to open it up so that anyone could become a producer to make these things. And taking this approach has created a lot of benefits. In addition to that, then we've got a fairly simple database here. We've used Firebase in this case just because it's quick and dirty, but the actual app itself is set up to allow all kinds of different sources that tell it which stories to pick up. And really all that's needed, we need a name, we need the little image here, and we've got some tags, because that's a part of the rebuilt app. Will organize these things on a tagging system. But that's really all that is in the database that it goes to. It's just this basic information, and then it knows where the STX file is, and it goes there to get the thing. Sorry, I am not on a paid Zoom, so it's just giving me the warning that I've got 10 minutes left here. I'll try and make a tidy wrap up within that time, but I think we'll pop back in and go deeper, presuming some folks might like to. Now, what was the next question there from Judy? You were saying, why do you put a map on top? So I think by that question, you're maybe asking, why have we got like this whole world map? Why not just start with the?
Oh right? No, I'm assuming that you've got the map underneath is like the location.
Correct.
But once you put the map on top, how do you make sure that you correspond? Like, how do you make sure that people are in the right place for when the audio starts?
100%.
Does that make sense?
Totally. Yep. And that's exactly what this anchoring is. And unfortunately, I had the idea of this demo last week, but I only went through it yesterday. And because I had to rotate the map like this, it doesn't look as good as I want, and it's not completely to scale. But if you've got your own, and by the way, you don't need to even have a map image. This will work with the OpenStreetMap view, but that's exactly what the idea is here. And this is a really poor example for it. What I might do actually right now is jump into Hamish's login, and we'll look at one of the real Soundtrails. I'll go into Nambour, and I think that will give a much better idea then. So see, we've got this professionally produced map by Mappuccino, and you can see basically what you're doing is lining up your map with the real geography. And once that's done, that's what provides a thing. So all of these points that are on here, it's a geolocation. It's a latitude, longitude value. That's what's in the KML file. Sorry, the STX file. And by lining up the map, top left and bottom right points, we then, within the app, you obviously just see this map, but we're able to map your location between that map and the real world thing. Did that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. And by the way, and again, choosing a KML based format, a lot of things come quite easily, but while this backend just supports dropping in a flat image, within the app, we do support more advanced formats like tile databases, and we're looking at incorporating GeoTIFFs potentially as well. The builder here is focused on what we've done in the past and making that as straightforward as possible. The format itself and the app itself allows for more complexity. I'll mention as well, just while I'm here, with each point, and particularly for art gallery or museum kind of use case, we do also have a QR code. And so the idea is you could make one of these up for something that's within a single gallery, print out one of these on each page. People don't need to have the app then. They're able to just scan that, bring up all the same kinds of information, a story and images associated with that. And you can do that either completely without the app, or within the app, you can set it so that you're able to go and have a specific app for a specific gallery and go around and scan these points if you want to do that rather than the geolocation. Are there any questions that Tracy, just so in the metadata, kind of check out, I'll drop this into the chat now. Actually, what I'll do now too, if anyone would like to get an account set up, please just drop your email into the chat or email me afterwards, because I'd love for people to start using this and playing with it. And I think we want to keep it as a, this is the beta version. We're just finished here. We'll be working on this until the end of the year. The new Soundtrails app will be coming out December, January. And at that point then as well, you will be able to, anything that you've created in this sandpit, you'll be able to go and test that yourself, walk around and see what that's like, and basically try it out. So I'm just dropping in. Do you know what though? Once this Zoom call ends, which is shortly, these messages will all be cleared away. So I'll do a follow-up email with everyone as well. I'm just kind of in my mind, I wanted to mention, so here's the Nambour sound trail. And if you go onto the Soundtrails website, you'll see the version of that. And it's the same kind of thing going on. We've done, you know, our own styling for how the hotspots are represented in on the website here. But it's all still using that same STX file. Cool. All right. Cool, Judy, Tracy, I've got yours there. Were you going to say something then?
Appreciate the comment.
Cool. Hey, look, does anyone, do you know what I might do is let this call finish, and then if you would like to talk further, I'll start it up again a second time, and if anyone wants to come in and ask questions, we'll do that as a second round. Okay, no worries. Oh, does anyone want to stay on? Should I open the call up? Let me know now. We could wrap it up here. I'll set. Yeah, cool. Tracy and Judy, I'll set you up with accounts, and yeah, please let me know, I guess, now if anyone does want to talk further. Otherwise, we might wrap it up there, I guess. You should all have my email and Hamish's email. Feel free to reach out at any stage. Cool. Yeah, the core functionality, to go back to the question about the database, the core functionality is mostly read-only, but obviously we can build anything on top of this to have more interactive, user-driven content. Cool. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you, everyone, and hopefully we'll talk again in the future. Bye-bye.